when Lane came in here, it seemed like he was in one of his better moods after a win this season. Just from your vantage point, what was the emotion in the locker room coming out of this?
Um, it was definitely a good win, regardless of how we won. It felt good because for most of these guys in our locker room, including myself, that was probably the biggest game that we played here at Ole Miss, and just the timing, the matchup, just everything. College game day, like that was the biggest game that honestly in my football playing career, and a lot of those guys in the locker room. So it felt good to come out on top, but it was sloppy offensively towards the end, and it was just miscommunications between me and the receivers, and regardless of who was wrong, we were wrong and we didn't execute. So, um, you know, just really just learning from that and being able to be on the same page and get it right next time we do it.
I know you're not thinking about the importance of the game when you're on the field, but how do you feel that sort of heightened importance? Where do you feel that?
It was just a big game just because it was a top matchup. It was an SEC play, and it was our home game, and um, college game day didn't necessarily it didn't change the way we approached the game, but I mean it made it a bigger game. So I'm definitely proud of the guys for stepping up, proud of the defense. They did their thing for sure, and the running backs in the run game because they were just giving us run looks. So hats off to them because they got it done.
Can you talk us through what didn't work on those couple of drives down at the 2 yard line?
It was just our will to want it. Up front, we just got to get a push. Me pulling the ball and fumbling, I can't do that. I got to hold on to the ball. I treat that just as an interception because it's a turnover on downs. So regardless, I got to take care of the ball, and we got to get a push up front, and we just got to go out there and execute. It was nothing that they were doing that was stopping us. It was just our want to. And it was just this over and over in the red zone. And it was frustrating just because, we're driving all the way down the field and we get stopped in the red zone. It's just frustrating. We just got to keep building on that. There's no team's doing anything different. They're doing the same exact thing. We just got to execute.
On a night when things are frustrating on offense, what's your confidence level like in the defense? How are you kind of handling watching the game kind of in their hands on the sideline?
Not necessarily just watching the defense. I still got to, handle on my side of the ball, but just talking to the captains on the defense and making sure that everyone stays on their P's and Q's and just stays locked in. And offensively, I was just telling them the same thing every single time that I was going back to them. Like they're not doing anything different. It's just when we get into the red zone, we're hurting ourselves. We just got to want it more. I thought we did a great job of play calling, and like I said, we just got to go out there and want it more when we get into the red zone on the 1 yard line. There's not much we can call from there.
You got any advice for Mac on learning how to fall forward on fourth downs?
It's hard. He thought it was open on the wide side just to bounce it, but when you're in a game, it's a lot different, and he doesn't run much or at all. So just being vertical and just chewing up as much grass as you can and stay vertical. But definitely next time we run, I guarantee he's going to stay straight and not run to the side. So.
When did you know Drummond was going to play, and when was the decision made for Mingo? It seemed like all three of them really tried to go in warm-ups.
I knew Drummond was going to be playing on Tuesday. Yeah, and if we absolutely needed them, they could have played more. But we were fine without him.
Lane said it was a pretty big relief when Snoop scored that touchdown. Did you kind of feel that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we went up 2 possessions, but and they were running the clock with their offense. I think it was taking they were averaging 5 minutes every time they got the ball. So it was important for every time we got the ball that we ended up with points.
Matt, as the game progressed and the game got tighter, you seemed to take off more and more. And given that you're still sort of working to get back to 100%, did you feel some sort of responsibility to sort of try to take care of things yourself?
I tried not to. There was one play where I tried to just do it myself and it really go my way. They do match charge. He was looking at the running back, and then I was thinking I was going to get an easy touchdown in the last second. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to go upfield, look like they're gunning the running back, and then last second go for me. So they gave me that look, and as soon as I pulled it, he was right there. And like I said, I just need to hold on the ball. But as far as just taking care of my ankle, there was one play. I think it was there's 2 minutes left, and I slid. Kiffin was mad at me because I slid, and I was kind of looking at him sideways, but If I got that first down, the game would have been over, and we wouldn't have had to snap the ball again. So that's just me understanding situations.
Overall, how do you feel working on that ankle today?
It felt good. There was nothing aggravated it, that's for sure. And I was just trying to stay away from that. So one more week, and I should be at 100%.
Thank you.
You can cut that out, right? Or was this live?
I got you.
Did you get to watch any of game day, or were you sleeping through it, or
Oh,
watching
I
film?
slept.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was not watching it. I watched a little bit of it. Yeah, I saw it's funny, I saw this dude with the Venmo, and I just saw like later on the bus someone showed that he made like $2,000 off of that. That's insane. Crazy.